Huge whale wallets right now are loading up on Link tokens. So what is it about Chainlink that is really starting to capture their attention, and where is Link about to head? In this video, we're going to understand a little bit more about what Link is, why I'm looking at it as a really solid investment right now, and where I see Link going over the next year, perhaps the next 2 years. If that sounds good, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Let's get into today's video. So guys, understanding a little bit more about what Chainlink is all about, then you would have definitely heard of Chainlink, okay? One of the larger cryptocurrencies around and has been around since 2017. Now, Chainlink does something extremely important. It takes real world data and it puts it onto the blockchain through the use of oracles and nodes. That might sound really too confusing, but it's actually all very simple. If we look at this particular picture, on the left hand side we can see the globe, which is the real world, and then we can move across and we can look at the different data which you might consider to be real world data. That could be financial data, that could be the weather, that could be a variety of different things. And all of this information is essentially going to be used in Web3, and it needs to be stored on a blockchain somewhere. So how do we guarantee that this data is legitimate? Well, right now, if you want to watch the news that tells you the weather, then that's from a centralized organization. It'll tell you the weather information from one centralized authority. But the benefit of Chainlink is it can give you the weather from a number of different authorities, and it can then group them together and aggregate the answer in the blockchain. All of the data is collected from oracles, which are effectively nodes, and all the oracles basically stake into the system to ensure that they are providing accurate data, because if they don't, then they lose their stake. And once it's collected all of this data, it can then be put into a smart contract, and this can be used across different chains. So it's essentially a very, very important part of the future development of the internet as we look into a Web3 future internet. Still struggling to understand what I am talking about? Well, don't worry, here's another real world example to hopefully help you along with the understanding. Now, sports betting, as I'm sure you're aware, is a multi-billion dollar industry worldwide. And when you're putting a bet on, say, a football match like this, then it takes a bookmaker to identify the odds. So let's say, for example, in this, you want Chelsea to beat Man United 1-0. They're going to give you the odds on that happening, on how likely it is to happen. They will then compare themselves against all the other betting agencies out there. And then if you win, then they'll pay you on completion of that. But the same concept can happen all autonomously through a smart contract. Basically, you can have an input through oracles on how likely that is to happen. And you can create an automatic system that will provide odds to different customers. Customers then go and place their bets. Then they'll automatically redeem their reward for placing the correct bet, and ultimately would lose the funds for placing the wrong bet. Now, this is an example of where we can remove the middleman. And if we think about other industries, such as going and buying a house, such as buying a holiday, buying flights, paying for hotels, all of these different things, you're always paying for some form of middleman somewhere, and that adds cost. Not only does it add cost, but it also takes away from security. So having a secure network all linked up through the blockchain, where there is no ifs or buts or people in the middle changing the plan or anything, but everything locked on a contract in a smart contract that is tamper-proof, that can't be changed, is a hugely powerful thing. And if we jump over to blockchaincenter.net, then we can see some nice visuals of different cryptos, which is why I seem to have liked this now more than I like CoinMarketCap. But I want you to consider the market cap of different coins. Now, at the moment, everyone's talking about Gala and smaller market cap coins, and they do tend to have bigger potentials because the market cap is small. But when we're talking about the real backbone of blockchain technology, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the big cryptos in town, of which I consider Chainlink to be one, we also will see insane growth, but in a much more secure way perhaps than we will on smaller market cap coins, which is why I'm now starting to load up a little bit more into those larger market cap coins that have longevity and will probably see growth over the next 5-10 years, potentially giving you an opportunity to siphon off the profits as they go up. Now, as we can see right now, Bitcoin's market cap is $539 billion, Ethereum $210 billion. In the last bull market, Ethereum had a market cap somewhere around $700 billion, and Bitcoin in excess of $1 trillion. Now, Chainlink sits in number 15 position and currently has a market cap of $3.4 billion. In the last bull market, huge amounts of money flowed into the crypto space. It's not unrealistic to imagine that we could be seeing a $300 billion market cap from Chainlink. I do think it's very possible, and we could see that happening sooner rather than later, and we're seeing a lot of interest coming in. Now, I can see from all-time highs, currently around 86.2% down, and that's pretty standard across the board. But looking at the coins above it, with the exception of like Solana, which has obviously been crushed down pretty aggressively, a lot of these coins aren't really down as much as you would expect them to be. And Bitcoin has actually seen quite a big recovery recently, which means that the old coins will tend to start to pump once Bitcoin takes a bit of a time to cool off, and I think that is about to happen. So before we jump in and look at the Chainlink chart, I want to show you what's happening in Bitcoin. Now, if you weren't around in the last bull market, what effectively happens is we get a pump in the Bitcoin price, and then all the altcoins kind of sit going sideways until Bitcoin either goes sideways or comes down, and then the altcoins will start to rally very, very hard against it. Now, what we can see, and you can see that I've got a lot of drawings on here, a bit of a mess, but Bitcoin has run into a very significant area of resistance, and that is why we're starting to see this kind of cooling off happen. Okay, we are seeing wicks towards the upside, which I do think, therefore, we're going to be pulling back to around this 26.5K, maybe even worst case, down below 25K for the Bitcoin price, which is good because it will give time for the other altcoins and things to catch up. And if we look at Chainlink on the daily chart, then we have some interesting stuff going on. And what I mean by interesting stuff, I mean nothing interesting has happened for a long time. Whereas all the other cryptos have been kind of like flattened out and rallying, Chainlink has just been in this chop for a very long time. When we see charts like this being very boring, you need to pay attention. And it's harder to pay attention because it is very boring. But when it's more boring, it's more likely to see something big unfolding. And what we can see is basically a range here, a high, and a range to the bottom. Now, obviously, these ranges could break out in either direction, but you would imagine, given that they are yet to see any movement from Chainlink and the rest of the crypto has been pumping, that Chainlink actually will be starting to look to make a move at some point soon enough. And what we're looking for would be a break beyond to then secure $7 as a platform to get started with its bull run, and then I think Chainlink is going to be off to the races. And right now, back to all-time highs, Chainlink's got a 6x on the cards. But I think realistically, we're going to be creeping way beyond that in the next bull market. It would not shock me at all to be looking towards $100, $150. And you're like, well, you said 1,000x. Guys, I want you to understand a little bit about what I see happening in crypto coming kind of soon. We're seeing the banking system starting to break down. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to tell you the narrative that the banks are going to go completely to dust and the only money we're going to have left is crypto and Bitcoin's going to be worth $100 million per token. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Don't really care, but I do know that crypto is here to stay, it's growing, and the big projects that are basically essential within the blockchain. And a lot of the projects that people are talking about in my Telegram group, link down below in the description, are kind of like nice to haves. I didn't know I needed it until someone told me about it. However, when I think about blockchain technology, I know that there's certain areas that are essential, and interaction between the real world and linking that into the blockchain smart contract environment is essential for development into Web3. Web3 we need, and we do need a decentralized internet, and Web3 is going to completely change the way that everything is done for us, and Chainlink allows all this to happen. Therefore, Chainlink has real world use cases, is an extremely powerful project, is well represented already within the cryptocurrency market. What better news than big old whales buying tons of Link? This is a good indication to me that this is when I need to be getting in. Not when everyone starts talking about it on YouTube in the next few weeks after we do see a pump, but getting in before the pump, paying attention. None of this is financial advice, by the way. I don't give financial advice, I just talk about what I'm doing. And if you want to find out more about what I'm doing, then get in my Telegram link down below, absolutely free, guys. And you can follow along with different cryptos as each of the guys is discussing them on a daily basis. That group's growing very, very quickly. and we will soon be doing more and more giveaways. We have started to do a few giveaways, but once money pours into crypto, tons of giveaways going to happen in that group. That group supports me, and I want to support that group back in the best way that I can. So make sure you're a part of it, guys. It would be great to get you on board. And if you want to buy Chainlink at the very best rates, as well as be able to pick up a bonus and get VIP status, well, look no further than the link down below in the description for Fairdesk. You can come across here and get a deposit bonus. And if you fulfill various criteria within that, you can get up to a $35,000 bonus. That's completely true, guys. You can see a $35,000 bonus for completing various different tasks. And probably one of the better ways is to start by taking a look at Chainlink, which you can find also on that platform. Hope you have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.